The previous session, we have covered what are the three security goals and what are the different security attacks that may happen in the network. We have also discussed what are security services, and these are the two standards that are used for the security services. Then we have also seen how the OSI model architecture focuses on these three areas like the security attack, security mechanism, and security services. And what are the different attacks that may happen in each layer of the OSI model also we discussed. And what are the different sniffing types that may happen in the different layers of the OSI model also we discussed in the previous session. So today we are going to talk about what are the different security services available. Now when I take the security services, these services are used for enhancing the security of data processing systems and the information that you are going to transfer in an organization. So these services are actually intended to counter the security attacks. We have discussed what are the different types of attacks that may happen in a network. So to counter these attacks, we need some kind of security services. That is what we are going to discuss today. And these security services will make use of one or more security mechanisms also. So that is the basic relationship between the security service and the security mechanism. So in a network, attacks may happen. So to counter or to defend these attacks, we need some kind of security services. And to provide these security services, we need some security mechanisms also. So these security services replicates the functions normally associated with physical documents. For example, to have signatures, dates, and to need protection from disclosure, tampering, or destruction, or some information being recorded or licensed. For these cases, you need some kind of security services. So in general, you can say the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, and the Telecommunication Standard Sector, which is T, these provides some security services and security mechanisms. These security mechanisms are used to implement the security services. That is what we have to understand. And all these security services and the mechanisms are provided by the International Telecommunication Union, Telecommunication Standardization Sector. So this is the sector which provides some security services and mechanisms, and these mechanisms are used to implement the security services. So when you take these security services and mechanisms, they are closely related because mechanisms are one mechanism or a combination of mechanisms. One or combination of security mechanisms are used to provide a service in the internet or over the network. Now when you take the security services, these are the 5 common services that are available. These are the 5 common services. So the security services are available for data confidentiality, for data integrity, authentication, non-repudiation, and access control. So these are the 5 common services that are available, and we can see that it is very easy to relate one or more of these services to one or more of the security goals also. I repeat, we can relate one or more of these services to one or more security goals. And we can see that these security services are developed or designed to prevent the security attacks, Now let us see what these security services, or let me say the five different security services. It is mainly used for authentication, access control, confidentiality, integrity, and non-repudiation. So when I take the security services for authentication, these security services provides the authentication of the party at the other end of the line. So in connection oriented communication, this is going to provide the authentication of the sender or the receiver during the connection establishment. In the connection-less communication, it authenticates the source of the data. So mainly I can say the authentication is for giving assurance that the communicating entity is the one which has claimed. So to authorize the sender or the receiver, we use the authentication mechanism. Please make a note of it. The authentication is used both in connection oriented as well as in connection less communication. So if it is connection oriented communication, the authentication provides the authorization of the sender or the receiver during the connection establishment, right? See, authentication generally we give to specify that the sender is an authorized person or the receiver is the authorized person, right? So if it is connection oriented communication, connection oriented means the sender and the receiver will have a connection, and by the time the sender will be sending the message and the receiver will be immediately receiving the message. You call it as connection oriented communication. So in that case, the authentication provides the sender or receiver's authentication during the connection establishment. Whereas if it is going to be connection-less communication, it is going to only authenticate the source of the data. That means only the sender will be authenticated here. So it is used in the case of in the connection-less communication. It is used to authorize from where the data originated. So that is the basic difference between authentication in the case of connection oriented and connectionless. If it is connection oriented, then both sender and receiver must be authenticated. Whereas if it is connection-less communication, only the sender need to be authenticated. That means from where the data has originated, that need to be authenticated. Now the second security service is what you call as access control, and the access control is actually the prevention of unauthorized use of a resource. So if any unauthorized user is trying to access the data or trying to access your network or trying to access any of the resources, computing services that are available in your organization, then you need to provide the access control. So the access control provides protection against the unauthorized access to the data. So when I say access here, it includes reading, writing, modifying and executing the program, right? So it is not just accessing the data. When any unauthorized user is reading the data, or if any unauthorized user is writing a new data, or if any unauthorized user is modifying your existing data, or if any unauthorized user is trying to execute some kind of programs in your organization, then you need a security service for access control. Then we have the next one is data confidentiality. So data confidentiality is nothing but protection of data from unauthorized disclosure. See, in the case of access control, it is not just the data, it includes everything, right? It includes all the computing services. Whereas in the case of data confidentiality, we are going to talk about only the data. So protection of data from disclosure attack or from unauthorized disclosure. So your data should not be disclosed to unauthorized persons. So in the case of data confidentiality, one point that we have to understand here, the service is as defined by X.800, that is the standard, and this standard is very broad and it includes the confidentiality of the whole message or part of your message, and it also protects against the traffic analysis. That is, it is designed to prevent snooping and traffic analysis. So your data confidentiality is used to prevent snooping and traffic analysis attack. Please make a note of it. Data confidentiality is one of the security services. For what we want the security service? We want to protect the data from unauthorized disclosure, or you want to protect the data from disclosure attack. Now this particular service is defined in X.800, and this includes confidentiality of whole message or a part of the message. And also the data confidentiality provides protection against snooping and traffic analysis. And the another security service is what you call as data integrity. The data integrity, it is nothing but giving assurance that data received is as sent by the authorized entity. So how it is sent, the same way the data is received on the receiver's end. That kind of security service you are going to provide using data integrity. Now if you take data integrity, it is mainly used to protect data from modification, insertion, deletion and replaying by an adversary, right? Please make a note of it. The data integrity is designed to protect the data from modification or adding a new data, which you call as insertion, or deleting any data that is available, or replaying. We have already seen what do you mean by replaying. So even to protect from replaying, we are going to use the data integrity service. And this service also, the data integrity service also protect the whole message, or it may protect part of the message. So it depends on what kind of protection you want or what kind of data you are sending. Depending on that, you can protect either whole message or part of the message. So when you consider data confidentiality and data integrity, both the services are capable of protecting the whole data, or you can protect only part of the data. Now another security service is what you call as non-repudiation. So non-repudiation is nothing but protection against denial by one of the parties in your communication. So denial by sender or denial by the receiver. So if you want to protect against this denial by either by the sender or by the receiver, then we can use a service called as non-repudiation service. So we can say the non-repudiation service protects against repudiation by either the sender or the receiver of the data. Non-repudiation, we have already seen this is one of the important security goals also. Repudiation is one of the security attacks. So if you want to protect against repudiation, you need a service called as non-repudiation. So in the non-repudiation, with proof of the origin, the receiver of the data can later prove the identity of the sender if denied. The same way, in non-repudiation, with proof of delivery, the sender of the data can later prove that the data were delivered to the intended recipient. So what happens in the case of non-repudiation is the service will have the proof of the origin, or it will have the proof of the delivery. So with that proof, if the sender denied or the receiver denied, we can work against this particular repudiation problem. That is the non-repudiation service. So these are the 5 major security services that are available as per X.800 standard. So you have data confidentiality. The data confidentiality is used for working against the snooping and traffic analysis. Data integrity. Data integrity is used for protecting the data from changes, right? So changes includes modification, insertion, deletion, etc. Apart from that, it also provides the service for working against the replaying also. Then we have the authentication. Authentication is in the connection oriented and in the connection less communication. So if it is connection oriented, the peer entity, the sender and receiver, both will be authorized. And if it is going to be connectionless, only the data origin, right, or only the sender need to be authorized. Whereas in the case of non-repudiation, it must work, the non-repudiation service works against the repudiation problem, where the sender or receiver may deny the communication. If so, we can have the proof of origin and proof of delivery to defend the repudiation attack. And another very important security service is the access control. The access control provides the protection against unauthorized access to the data. So it involves reading, writing, modifying, or even executing some kind of programs or accessing some kind of computing services that are available in your organization. So all these things can be protected using the access control service. So the next one is security mechanisms. So we are going to discuss what are the different security mechanisms available to provide the security service.